The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 1 million views in 2024. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the over 5,500 subscribers watching local sports. Union University, Bethel College, South Gibson County, USJ, and TCA. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.
Live from the coach's office, it's the BallGame Blitz production of the Lightning Strike Sports Show. We're going to have several great features today. A little bit of history today. Next week, the next show we do, we'll tip you off, probably talk about Trenton Peabody and a gentleman called Peabody 65 and all the great things that happened in Trenton, including the home of where the TSSAA first originated from. We'll also talk about current events today, and we've got several. Let me hit you with some quick Blitz stuff. First of all, Javonte Smith has committed to UT. They played Rocky Top after he committed. The fans went nuts over there. The family atmosphere, supporters, even people from other schools were there to support Javonte Smith, the fine cornerback and wide receiver for the Northside Indians. We'll tell you more about that. Humboldt Rising Junior, Darian Taylor was named the Reebok Paducah Super Regional co-MVP. That's place you go play. The Night of Champions is going to happen July the 8th at First Baptist Church in Lexington, and they are bringing in Jabari Small, NFL running back, former UT running back. Pete Rose will give you a little quick factoid in our Blitz here on the Lightning Strike Sports Show. Pete Rose, the only player in Major League Baseball history to play at least 500 games at 5 separate positions. He played first base, second base, third base, left field, and right field, and played at least 500 games. Now, in some current events, getting back on the Blitz, congratulations to Tyler DeHaan. Back in June, we didn't have this, but he was named Super Freshman Team by the Tennessee Baseball Report. He's a pitcher for South Gibson High School. He'll be a sophomore coming up. Great job by him. On July the 4th, the Chicago Cubs not only brought the fireworks, they brought the bats. They hit 8 home runs in one game. That's a Cubs franchise record. Michael Bush hit 3 of them. Pete Crow Armstrong hit 2. Dansby Swanson, the old Vanderbilt player who played with the Braves for a while, but with the Cubs, hit 1. Isaiah Suzuki hit 1, and Carson Kelly hit 1. And of course, we are looking at things like Braden Rouse. Right now, the linebacker in UT has 2 of the top 5 linebackers in America committed to him. My good friend Sean Sparks with the Ball Vault, though, is worried whether Rouse will stay with us or not, because Texas is pursuing hard. We've already told you about the balls landing the defensive back. They could play him at wide receiver, and remember, there are a couple of people that we'll talk about the Ball Report that want to go 2 ways, but according to Athlon Sports, Falls already have the 8th best secondary. G. Manise retiring after 34 years. We've mentioned it before. His last official day is August 31st, but we're going to talk about Gene just a little bit. Those are some of the Blitz headlines. Now, let's get down to some business, because first of all, you say, how does a player, what's the criteria for becoming an All-Stater? And Javonte Smith just happens to be an All-Stater, and we're headed towards Javonte. Athletic ability, obviously. Team success, position-specific performance, leadership, sportsmanship. Now, you got to have some sports writers or radio people or television people to nominate you. Leadership by you. The player's leadership is attitude and sportsmanship on and off the field. And also, sports writers, broadcasters submit their nominations, review, and they have voting. And in some states, and here in Tennessee, it's done by classifications. Now, before we go further, let me hit you with some Blitz questions. These are some we're going to answer over this week, next week. We want you to think about it. If you see me out, and later we're going to have a way you can submit some things that you want put on this show, the Lightning Strike Sports Show, brought to you by the BallGame Blitz, Worthy Road Studios production. Christopher Reasons, producer, director, all around good guy with the broadcast too. Paul Schultze, our executive producer and owner. But how will the new TSSAA playoff format for Division I affect the playoffs? Region runner-ups and second place teams, third place team, they're moving into new pods, and we'll explain pods in a later broadcast. These are ones we want you to be thinking about before the next broadcast, which will alter which regions match up in the second round and put potential region rematches off until the semifinals. Now that part is probably good, putting region matchups off if you're in the same region. How will the TSSAA's one-time transfer rule affect the state championship races? That is interesting. The TSSAA expects to have significantly more transfers. It's already started. We'll tell you about one in a minute, and you're going to get angry when I tell you, not at me, but your state legislature money's being wasted, and we'll tell you more about that in a minute. This could alter the balance of power. It could knock some schools out of ever contending for anything, this transfer policy. The TSSAA didn't have any choice, thanks to a couple of state legislators. Yeah, I kind of curl my lip up. There's anger in an old coach's voice. Can the TSSAA hang on to its autonomy? Not if these two clowns that claim to be state legislators have their way about it. Will the Tennessee state legislature have its way and wrestle control of high school athletics away from the high school governing body? Now, what about Henry County? They went through some coaching changes, but can Josh Wolf continue the legacy built by James Count's father and son duo? And speaking of Coach Counts, will new Coach James Counts carry over a long history of postseason success to a school that's relatively new called Rockvale? He won 95 games in 10 years at Henry County, reaching the 2018 5A state championship game, 3 other state semifinal appearances. Can he carry that on? Some more questions we want you to think about. Have all-star games, and we're talking about in the NFL, NBA, Major League Baseball, etc., outlive their usefulness. How are the new NCAA rules on paying college athletes going to work out? We want your thoughts. We're going to give you hours in one of the next couple of shows coming up. Has the designated hitter been good for baseball since it's in both leagues now? And how are the new NCAA rules on paying these coaches or athletes? We've asked that. How's it going to work out? What's it going to do to the game? And how do we make baseball more interesting? And should the NCAA be abolished? Yes and no. It's either got to throw out their rule book and rewrite it and change, or it's time for the Power 5 schools to pull out and form their own league. Do you guys remember a Diamond Jacks player called Hee-Sop Choi? We're going to talk about him. Yes, Hee-Sop Choi. That is the correct way. He actually played in the major leagues. He had a cup of coffee up there. We're going to talk about UT's recruiting class. And I will answer a question at the end of this Blitz segment, which is coming up. Somebody gave me this at Umpy's. Can you talk about the Northside football team in the 70s? Well, there were about 9 or 10, depending on how you consider it. One in particular, and I'm going to mention it, they had some players like Chris Collins, Tommy Pearson, Dilo Barker, Bobby Holloway, Don Beard, Johnny Starks, Wade Reeves, Brownie Croom, Gary Taylor. There were some more. I'll name some more of those. They're particularly important to me. My brother passed away. They all played on that 78 school year team, the fall of 77, when they lost to Milan in the first round of the state playoffs, but the winner of that game probably was going to be a state champion, and Milan did. Milan only beat Northside 13-0 that night. Had Northside scored from the Milan 10, they could have taken the lead, and it would not have been necessarily that way. It could have been very different. Northside could have gone on. Milan won. John Tucker, his crew. Don't forget, August 22nd, we kick off football. South Gibson has Franklin Road coming in. North Point comes into USJ, and TCA will be on the road, but we'll have all those games. Okay, here's the problem. We have this question, but I'm going to answer it. When can athletes start utilizing the TSSAA's one-time transfer policy? Plus, there's an unfair advantage for boarding schools in Division II. They can actually transfer more than once. Key points. The TSSAA adopted this new one-time policy rule for high school athletes. It's effective this school year, 25-26. Also, the rule allows for the single transfer for academic, social, emotional, environmental, or mental health reasons pending approval from the school they're transferring from. Here we go. Check this out. I got to give the Tennessean, the Jackson Sun, and some friends of mine credit for this story. Daniel Sapicki, son of one of the legislators who pulled this shenanigans on the TSSAA, the power play, wanted to take it away from the TSSAA. He pushed for this one-time transfer law. Guess what? His son has left Columbia Academy and transferred to McCallie. It wasn't for you, the fan. It was for Sapicki, and Adam Lowe also had motivation. We'll tell you about that more. Sapicki is guilty of this. Daniel Sapicki, one of the Middle Tennessee's top offensive linemen, is going from Columbia Academy to McCallie. His father, the state legislator, Scott Sapicki, oh yeah, had a cup of coffee in the NFL, thinks he knows everything, and he's one of the two with Adam Lowe that's trying to wreck the TSSAA. But right here, check out your local state legislators here in West Tennessee. Some of them supported those two clowns and went along and voted for them to fuss. Now the TSSAA has a one-time transfer rule, but the boarding schools, as I told you, have an additional exception. Okay, let's tell you a little more about this story. Scott Sapicki, Republican from Culleoka, declined comment, as usual, for several sources, not just the Gannett papers, not just some of my friends that are in radio and have their own shows and things like that. But in December, Sapicki proposed House Bill number 25. The 25 becomes a bad number because of that, but only on state legislation, which was initially written to make it illegal for a public school to belong to the TSSAA. You don't have that right. If you do, it would wind up in the Supreme Court. The trouble is, it would cost a lot of money. And they want the TSSAA, and they forced it to allow athletes a one-time transfer without penalty. Now, Sapicki is a former Wisconsin punter, pass line coach at the high school in Spring Hill, Tennessee, and he claimed his son had never explored a transfer. There are other sources that say that is not necessarily the truth. Sapicki is 6'6", 312-pound offensive lineman. He's the number 69 player in the class of 2026 here in Tennessee. He's number 149 in his position nationally. He's already had scholarship offers from Samford, Eastern Kentucky, and UT Martin. I wouldn't touch him with a 10-foot pole if I was coaching. Don't want his daddy around my program. He might try to legislate me or my team out of existence. He will be declared eligible after he goes through this process, and the TSSAA will begin that process for all transfer students on July 14th. And he's got to get his transfer form and all that. Don't worry, the paperwork's basically already done. McCallie went 11-2 last season, like they really need his help, but they'll take another great lineman. D2 AAA state championship for its second straight title, 6 overall, and the legislation is what pressured the TSSAA to change the transfer rule. Let's give credit. Scott Sapicki, who is, as we told you, the Republican from the Murray County area, and then Adam Lowe from Calhoun, who sponsored Sapicki's bill in the Senate and wrote a version that applied to pressure the TSSAA to change the transfer rule or be subject of new state law, which would have basically ended the TSSAA. Those eggheads in the State Department of Education and the eggheads that claim to be state legislatures have no business running high school athletics. It needs to be autonomous, a organization that's not part of the state government. Keep government out of it, and I don't like it. That is bottom line. I don't like it. Now, let's talk about something nice and change tunes really quick. We've already told you about it and hit on it in high places, but Tennessee received a commitment yesterday in a great ceremony orchestrated by Coach Lowe of Northside, and also his co-athletic director, Dr. Aaron Woods, helped out with it. A lot of people put a lot of effort into it. We were there for that. We may have some pictures we'll show you over the next couple of weeks, maybe even on this show. But the three-star wide receiver, cornerback, he's probably a 4 or 5 star. Tennessee will probably play him at cornerback, but he could do both. The 6 foot, 171 pound, and I think he's actually 6'1", but you know, he is ranked as a player where he has a commitment to the UT Vols. He's 247 Sports has ranked him as the 149th wide receiver in the class and the 37th player in Tennessee. But UT thinks he's very valuable. And Tennessee offered the scholarship back on October 4th of 2023. He unofficially visited Tennessee in 2024 at the UTEP game, again on April 5th for a practice. I believe that he went up a couple of times. He's visited the other schools like West Virginia, Arkansas, and Missouri with the Final Four with Tennessee. A fine young man, outstanding young man. Works hard on the field, works hard. There are stories to tell about him. He didn't start playing football till the year of COVID, 2019. He has developed all this. He's a great baseball player. He's a great basketball player. He's going to graduate in December and be part of UT's class coming in to work. And what a great young man he is going to be for them. And it's really just a great thing. And I'm going to go ahead and go on record. He is 6'1", 175. They're going to put more poundage on him. He's not going to lose any speed or anything. Now, 34-year career with the TSSAA is about to end for my buddy Gene Moniz. He's a former baseball player at Vanderbilt. He actually spent a little time at Jackson State playing a little baseball. He also played minor league baseball. He's officiated many different sports for the TSSAA. He was a coach. He even played with the Nashville Sounds. Almost made it to the majors. Hit over 300 3 times in the minor leagues, but one of the most respected men. His credibility, his expertise, and his love of the game, and he wanted it to be the best for the high schools and the participants in there and you, the fan. As of August 31st, we're going to miss Gene Moniz. Now, West Tennessean, by the last name of Wood, is going to eventually take his place. We're going to tell you more about him. And he has ties to South Fulton, Tennessee. We have many South Fulton listeners. We are running down on time and probably not going to get everything we wanted to in today. But I do want to remind you of a couple of things. You know, Tennessee get that grammar straight, Coach. English teacher's going to be after me like they were Dizzy Dean. And they made the college playoff behind running back Dylan Sampson and its great defense in 2024. They're going to need a similar path, and they're going to need their transfer quarterback that went from Appalachian State to UCLA to Tennessee, Joey Aguilar, to really step up. He's going to have to cut his turnovers down. And Tennessee wants to get back there. We're going to preview Tennessee more next week and tell you all about it. But the defense was great. They've got enough people. Get Jermon McCoy healthy. He's coming off ACL. We're going to have the 8th-ranked set of defensive backs in it. Some quick history. 1963, despite fumbling the ball 9 times and losing 5 of those fumbles in one game, the Jackson High Golden Bears fought off the Humboldt Rams 15-7 at Rothrock Stadium. You don't know who the Humboldt Rams are? They're the forerunner to the Humboldt Vikings. They combined Stigall and Humboldt, but back then it was just the Humboldt Rams. Jackson backs Jack Calhoun, Eden Smith, Dennis Wilson, Al Hubbard carried the load on the ground. Bill Douglas made a big, important interception. Jackson High went on to win the state championship that year. We'll tell you how you won state championships back before the playoffs a little later. Now, we've got to talk about some other things. My friend Michael Odom, who helps with this show too, gives me some information. Michael has some great listings of some great things that happened in Gibson County. Guess what? We cover South Gibson. We also have some other schools. Oh, we got a slobber knocker the second week of the season. Worthy Road Studios will be there for the Milan and South Gibson game, USJ and also TCA games. Now, Worthy Road Studios, I'm going to finish telling you about them. Who knows, I may have something really quick and small that we want to hit you with, but maybe a hero and a zero. But we produce live broadcasting for sports at University School of Jackson, Trinity Christian Academy, South Gibson High School for the year 25-26. Coming up sooner than you think, August 22nd. There'll be some jamborees on the 15th. These games are live streamed on each team's Facebook page, archived to the Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel. They're shared to Facebook, Twitter, Instagram. You really get a bang for the buck, and the fan, we don't charge you a fee like the National Federation does. It's free. The advertisers cover the cost. The BallGame Blitz is the premier live sports network for West Tennessee, having over 1 million views in the last school year. Notice that. That's just in the school year. We've been live streaming sports for the last 15 years and do around 450, and that's a conservative figure. We do more than 450 a year. Have 5,000 subscribers alone just to our YouTube network. You can be a subscriber there. Here's what we need you to do. To keep these broadcasts free, they're high quality, same cameras ESPN has. Some of the cameramen are better than some of ESPN's. Nobody can touch Worthy Road Studios camera work. The announcer's not too bad because you got Diamond Dave McCulley, who's very good. We had Steve Beverly, but Steve moved to Florida. We miss Steve. Who knows, he may come back. Got two fine young men that's fixing to do some games for us, USJ. Thomas Pugh and Ben Howard. What great guys. And then they put up with me over at South Gibson. Love doing their games. Wonderful people. We've had a great relationship. You can call Worthy Road Studios or get them on their Facebook page on the BallGame Blitz. Paul Schultz will call you back, talk to you, come by and visit you. We want you to do that. Now, sometimes I like to give heroes and zeros. The heroes for today are the hero, Gene Manise. All the time he's given high school athletics. The zeros for today, two of you. Scott Sapicki, you're a zero. Guess what? Adam Lowe out of Calhoun. Yeah, I could make a joke about him. Yeah, they pipe sunlight in there and the newspaper gets there too later. Sapicki and Lowe, you are the zeros for the day and matter of fact, you get to be until the next broadcast, the zero. We want you to tell 5 friends about this show. We will see you next week with another Lightning Strike Sports Show on the BallGame Blitz in Worthy Road Studios.
The award-winning BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios. Over 1 million views in 2024. We're where you need to advertise. Subscribe to our Worthy Road Studios YouTube channel and join the over 5,500 subscribers watching local sports, Union University, Bethel College, South Gibson County, USJ, and TCA. Multi-camera broadcasts, slow-motion instant replay, on-screen scoreboard and graphics, and professional announcers. Thanks to our sponsors who make it all possible. BallGame Blitz Sports Network from Worthy Road Studios, the premier sports broadcast network in West Tennessee.